Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar organized by Doxity in partnership with University of the Arts London. My name is Carolina. Nice to meet you all, and I'll be your host for today's event on behalf of Doxity. I see here that the first people are already starting to join in. We're going to wait a few minutes before starting to allow everyone to connect. In the meantime, feel free to say hi in our chat here in Zoom, and please tell us where you're from, since we are very curious. And first of all, I want to thank everyone for joining us and thank our panelists for being here with us today. I want to introduce you all to Robert Urquhart, course leader, and Tracy Venison, marketing manager for Study Abroad and pre-sessional programs. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here. Together with them, we're going to explore the ever-changing creative scene in London with a deep dive into the trends shaping today's art, fashion, and design industries, and we're going to discover more about the summer courses. You'll also have the possibility to interact with our speakers and ask them questions. Talking about that, I'd like to remind you that after the presentation, we will have a Q&A session where you'll be able to ask direct questions to the panelists. So don't be shy and just type all of your questions in the Q&A section here in Zoom at the bottom of the page, and we'll go through them at the end of the webinar. Also, for those of you interested in receiving a certificate of attendance by Doxity for this free masterclass, stay tuned because we will post a link to get the certificate at the end of the session. So I think we are able to start now. Welcome to those who just joined us. And without further ado, I'm now leaving the floor to our panelists for their presentation. Enjoy and see you later.
Hello there. Hi, everyone. My name is Robert Urquhart. Greetings from University of the Arts London, here in London. It's a beautiful sunny day. It's 5 p.m. here in the UK. Looking forward to spending the next hour with you, talking you through some of the fantastic courses that we have on offer here during the summer months at UAL. So without further ado, you've heard of us. We are number 2 in the world for art and design. This comes from the QS World Ranking Survey 2023. We have a fantastic array of courses, but behind that are a fantastic array of staff that are there dedicated to serve our students. And we're really pleased and proud and privileged to have students from all over the world come and join us on undergraduate courses, on MA courses, and also on short courses, and also for the summer school that we really hold dear to our hearts. So we have a number of different campuses, as I'm sure you're aware: London College of Fashion, Central St Martin's, London College of Communication, which is where I'm speaking from today to you, Camberwell, Wimbledon, Chelsea. And we're one big family. So our staff move around between different campuses, teaching at different points. We have students that come to us for many, many different reasons, and we're going to talk you through the majority of those reasons when we come here. But one of the main things as well is also coming and spending time in this fantastic city. We have amazing cultural sector, we have amazing galleries, we have loads of inspiration in the city itself, and we're really proud to be right in the center of all of that action. All of our campuses are right in the center of town, and we really use the city as our inspiration for what we do as staff and students. For myself, I've been here for over 10 years. I've been teaching for short courses, and I'm currently the undergraduate course leader for design management, and I'm going to talk you through that in a second. But we have a number of different staff from a number of different backgrounds that all come in at different times to support our students, whether that's the fantastic technicians that we have, the fantastic associate lecturers, course leaders, program directors. They're all here, and they're all practicing designers, artists, creatives in their own right. And that's why we're so high ranked in the world, because we also practice what we teach. So the future of the creative industries in London, I've just mentioned about the fact that we have this fantastic background to what we do, and we like to really share that with the world. And so we offer 3 or 8 week study abroad courses, and it really is an intensive experience of our best subjects, right? So we meet up with students, we figure out how we can best serve them during their time with us. And we're here also today predominantly to answer any questions you may have about the course and about the courses that you want to or you're thinking about joining us on. So any questions that you have, please do remember them and think on those, and also think about if you have any questions after the event today, please do get in touch with us as well. But I'm going to do my best to harness all the experience that I've had over the last 10 years to show you some of the things that we're doing here. And I'm joined also by our marketing manager, Tracy Bennison, who will also be sharing their experience of what we have on offer and to answer any kind of technical questions. So I'm here for the kind of creative side of it, and Tracy is also here on the creative, but also to answer any kind of particular questions you may have about signing up and joining us. So what we're going to cover is we're going to cover an introduction to design management, which is the course that I'm running from the 22nd of July till the 8th of August. How you can get involved in working with us and joining us on these fantastic programs that we're offering, and the next steps, how you can sign up and what you can do to come and visit us this year and certainly this summer. So I'm going to take you through what I do day in, day out as a course leader on design management, which is an undergraduate course. But there is also an MA design management that we run here. And I run short courses in design management aimed at practicing professionals. So my experience goes from 18 to 80 or beyond, you know, because you're never too late to get involved and to study. And I'm going to talk to you through some of the things that we're considering in design management. But I also want you to consider this as being a kind of an approach that we use with all of our courses here at UAL. So the way that I'm going to be talking about what goes on, how we involve you as students, is really kind of how we operate as a university as well. So the outline for today's introductory session, as I say, is a kind of introduction to what design management is, because it's not a particularly typical thing, not like graphic design or illustration that everyone knows about. Design management is a very new and contemporary and exciting course. We're going to reflect on some of those design thinking processes, and we're going to think about how design thinking and design management operates in real life. Because that's one of the things with all of the courses that we offer, is that we're thinking about how you're going to apply this in the real world, how you're going to take away what you learn over the few 3 or 8 week period that you're with us, and how you're going to apply that in your everyday creative practice, whether that's your professional practice or your practice as a student. Because quite often we have students joining us that may be thinking about taking on another course, starting out their career in academia. But we also have people that we realize want to upgrade their skill set and want to work more proactively within their subject discipline. So one of the first things I'd like to kind of broach with you is this kind of way that we teach at UAL, which is learning by doing. Your experience is vital. We don't just sit here and tell you the way it is. We work with you, and we hold some kind of almost like the manifesto really dear to our heart, which is that we believe in proactiveness, right? Engaging with society, community, and the workplace. As I said, this is about you bringing your experiences into the course that you're studying. We think about enterprise, the idea that creativity is something that really is a tool for helping us work out and through some of life's complexities. And so enterprise, whether that's commercial enterprise or just spotting a way of doing things differently, more positively, is something that we really, really respect and adhere to. We embrace the idea of agility, to embrace rapid change, because goodness me, the world is changing rapidly the whole time. And we believe that creativity is really a fundamental part of that. we really believe in showcasing your abilities. So we really concentrate on communication, connectivity, and storytelling. We have a vast array of students from all around the globe. We communicate in lots of different ways. We all need to work together. And so we really harness that in our kind of creative approach to teaching and learning, but also in equipping you to be able to do that in your everyday practice. And we also really believe in navigating change. We say the world is changing rapidly, and so we hope to inspire you with curiosity. We hope to inspire you with self-efficacy, which means confidence in your abilities, because often all it takes is a nudge in the right direction to bring out the best in you. And we hope that we do that at UAL. And we also hopefully move with resilience. We understand that life isn't easy, that our jobs are complex, our studying is complex. So we really try and build that into what we do. But at the bottom of all of this is the idea that, yes, we're here to teach and we're here to mentor you and we're here to help you, but also you're here to bring your life experience to what you do. And so we really try and build our courses around you as individuals and you as a group when we're teaching you, and to bring that into the classroom. So it's not a case of telling you what to do and you just go away and do it. It's a case of you bringing your experience and us working with you collaboratively. And that's our approach to teaching and learning. So now on to the subject that I'm teaching, which is design management, which is really interesting because it fits into so many different areas at undergraduate, postgraduate level, and at short course level. I work with those of us that are perhaps design orientated, but that design could be strategic. It could be people starting out their own business. It could be production managers. It could be art directors. It could be creative directors. It could be people that want to go into marketing and branding. And I came onto this and teaching this because my background years ago was studying art in the days before we had courses like this. But I then went on to work in branding and also as a writer, specifically as a design writer, and then gradually into strategy. And so I can really see the way that design management maps out as something that speaks to the ever-changing world that we're in, because job titles change, the way that we operate changes, but there are certain fundamental, interesting dynamics within creativity that can be used across many different fields. So here's an example of where design management sits. We look at a kind of contemporary history from 1980s about consumer boom, about how design suddenly became something that wasn't just about building or creating an artifact. You ask some people what they think design is, they'll be saying, oh, it's a poster, or it's an album sleeve, it's a record cover, or it's a chair. But actually design is far more in depth and intricate than that. And as we can see from this timeline, we see in the last 40 years, the world has changed rapidly. And one of the big things has been the technological transformation, the big boom of kind of another industrial revolution, a digital revolution. And it's changed the way we think about design operating. Designers are no longer just producing products or artifacts. Designers are in the boardroom. Designers are making decisions about all kinds of things, whether it's organizational change or whether it's healthcare, government, or helping solve really big problems around poverty or climate change. These are all things that designers are involved with. So the kind of old idea of designers just working on products is no longer so relevant. And this is something that we're really keen on emphasizing right across UAL, is that creativity doesn't just stop with the traditional kind of art school end result. It can go into many, many different areas, and does go into many different areas now. Technology has proven that, you know, a lot of innovation and change has been brought around from designers thinking in non-linear ways and thinking holistically about the craft of creativity. So that's a kind of recent history of design management, from retail through to innovation management, through to sitting down and thinking about how design can help people communicate better and help people understand each other more readily. Empathetic design, human-centered design has become much more of a pressing need in the last 25 years or so. And so this is something that design management really speaks of. So design management in 2024 is about processes. Design is all about process, isn't it? Design is all about figuring out a way of doing something. And traditionally, it's been about making it cost effective, or making it time relevant, or making it quicker, cheaper, smarter. That's been the bottom line. However, that isn't necessarily the way forward when we think about some of the bigger issues in the world. Making something more cheaply has a knock-on effect. Making something happen quicker can cause an effect somewhere else. So we're very much concerned with thinking about how what we do as creatives influences the world around us, and how we can learn from the world around us, and maybe be more considerate as creatives. It's a set of tools, so we use a lot of mapping. We think about empathy maps, which I'm going to take you through in a second. But predominantly, design is also about a set of tools. Now, traditionally, it might have been a hammer or a chisel or a pen or a paintbrush, but increasingly, it's about how we maybe communicate with stakeholders, the people that we're designing for, being able to listen, being able to put into effect all of those creative attributes that I showed you earlier on. So imagine curiosity as one of the tools that you have. How do we bring that out, and how do we discuss that? It's also a mindset. So it's about not necessarily thinking about how do I get somewhere the quickest, but thinking about how do I get somewhere that gives me longevity? How do I get somewhere that really helps the people that I'm designing for? A lot of what we talk about stems from the last industrial revolution, and certainly stems from the last 50 to 70 years of industrial design. However, industrial design isn't the only way that design operates now. We've just talked about healthcare, we've just talked about local government, we've just talked about maybe working on projects that aren't about scaling something up and maximizing profit. These things are undoubtedly some of the reasons why we do what we do. But the terminology that we use sometimes is relating to a very set formula, but perhaps we can think about these processes in a more holistic way. So, as I was just saying, the design management tools that we have are from industrial design backgrounds. But when we think about the human element of that, we're designing for people often. Sometimes if we're an engineer, we might be designing for a machine. But we realize increasingly that people are different, that we need to consider where people are based, what people are doing, how they're living their lives. So we're very much culturally relevant, and we consider the wider impact of what we're doing. And of course, the bottom line here is often the planet as well, and how we can maybe be more considerate about the way that we operate within the world. And this is not just us saying this. This is how, a lot of what's going on in the world is facing, and we aim to be right across UAL an organization that promotes positive change. So some of the other tools that I mentioned there, we've got a tool called the Double Diamond, which is this from the Design Council, which is a process for helping us think about where we start and being divergent with our thinking, not leaping to conclusions. And we might think about ideation, prototyping, and delivering, all kind of industrial design phrases, but we can apply them in more exciting ways than just producing for manufacturing. We think about being human-centered. So one of the key points of all of this is that we need to be empathetic. We need to understand who we're designing for, why we're designing, and what we're about. So one of the tools we use is an empathy map, and I'm going to show you that briefly shortly. We work with journey maps, which comes from user experience design and service design, which was also kind of wrapped up in design management. And we might think about culture maps, which is looking at how organizations function, how people congregate together, and what happens when cultures are created around organizations. So this is very much involved in the world of business. And we also think about stakeholder maps, thinking about who are the people that are connected and networked together. And all of this produces this idea of systems thinking, which I'm going to show you shortly, which is about not designing in a bubble, not thinking in a bubble, but really understanding the wider implications of what comes into our world and what leaves our world as creatives. So as I mentioned just now, where does design management comes from? Well, it comes from industrial design. If you were to ask someone 50 or 60 years ago what design management was, they would talk about industrial processes, they might talk about architecture, they might talk about computing science, but actually that's not particularly where we are today with design management. Design is a process and a function. We've kind of just touched upon that briefly. So it comes from, like, design is a set of processes that can be emulated. It also comes from product development. It comes from communication identity, balancing user needs and business needs. It comes from defining problems, which is sometimes the task that we can be given. And that's our only task as designers, is to come up and think about what problems actually need to be solved, because a client just giving you a problem to solve isn't necessarily always the right way to go around things. The client may not be aware of some of the other issues surrounding what's going on in their world. So in a way, design management is a route into kind of consulting and consultancy, understanding and diagnosing and helping solve problems. And we also apply a holistic approach, which means that we think about the bigger picture. We don't just focus on one thing. We're always looking at what else is going on in that world. So hopefully, rather like a good doctor, we think about, if a patient comes to us, we don't just go for what the first thing is. We try and look at the whole situation. So here's that double diamond that I talked about, and it's about problem seeking and problem solving, because that's really what design is about at its fundamental level. To do that, we think about divergent thinking and convergent thinking, bringing things, expanding with research and coming together and thinking about what is the research telling us. So where does this fit into real life? Remember, I was talking about how what we teach, we try and apply to what's going on in the world. Here's that double diamond approach, and this is something that we have used with students. This is from the Design Council from 2017, because what we're talking about is all very recent. It's all in the last 15 years or so. We're applying design thinking, the mindset of interconnectedness instead of discolation, to be circular instead of linear, to not think in silos, but to look at what's emerging. And in that, there's a bit of speculative thinking in that. And so here's my explanation very, very briefly about that double diamond. But what I've called it is the floating bird of systems thinking. This means, rather like when you see maybe a duck sitting on a lake and it looks like it's gliding along really, really serenely, but underneath there's lots going on. That's how we need to think about when we're designing. There's lots going on underneath the surface, even though things look like they're very, very peaceful and ordinary. There's always something going on underneath the surface. So that's what I call the floating bird of systems thinking. And there's a definition. This definition, I'm not going to read now because it's very long, but this is interesting because when we think about the application of all of these things, this is actually from a very dry and seemingly dull guide to civil servants who work in government in the UK government. And they're being taught about systems thinking as a way of underlying complex situations. So this is government thinking about how they can incorporate design thinking into what they're doing. And I find that really interesting. And one of the bottom part of that quote there is that the parts of a system can be things that you touch and see, for example, infrastructure, raw materials, people, but they can be things less tangible, for example, behaviors, feelings, and power dynamics. So thinking about how all of these things work as one is a really interesting way of doing that. And that comes from a guide for civil servants, people who work in bureaucracy, trying to reimagine the way that they work with designers. So here's an example of the kind of things we would do on the course. I would want to know, as an opening thing, will there still be a supermarket as we know it in 30 years' time? Will we still be going out for groceries, or will we have everything delivered? Will we still be eating animal products, exotic produce and sweets, or will we have long switched to a different diet? And these aren't questions just raised by me. These are questions raised during the Embassy of Food at Dutch Design Week a couple of years now. And they were raised by a supermarket called Albert Heijn in the Netherlands, who were asking these questions because they want to get a competitive edge. So this is where the business and speculative design and design thinking all come together. The supermarket of the future could operate as a farm, a really interesting concept. And this is what some designers came up with. We had to think about 3D printed food. What happens when you start 3D printing food? How does that affect things? What happens when you think about the future of meat and how it can be produced without herding cattle? And things that are already in existence, like all good speculative design, it's rooted in the now. This is actually a supermarket where they are growing food within the shop. And so what could that look like? Is that something that's going to happen? In order to answer these questions, we have to think about the food system. We have to not just think about our experience, but we have to think about the knock-on effect. It's great that we can grow meat in a laboratory, but what does that mean to farmers who have cattle? What's going to happen to them, and what do we need to put in place? Because with every move we make, something else, we have a cause and effect. So as designers, we have to think about that. So going back to that floating bird of systems thinking, it's about what's going on underneath the surface. And the problem was, how might we create the supermarket of the future as a farm? What would that look like? And so we would use these tools, a rich picture tool, stakeholder mapping, and empathy mapping to think about how we might make the world a better place, but also work with the people that are all involved and invested in this supermarket chain and food chain at the moment. There's a slide of a rich picture tool, thinking about all of these things that go into the kind of conversations we need to have as designers. And there's an empathy map, which is all about getting inside the mind and heart of the person that you're designing for or working with. And this is a tool that we use in design management on a regular basis. And so today, what I've done is introduce you, hopefully, to the subject of design management. We've had a little very brief reflection on design thinking processes and tools and mindsets. And hopefully what we thought about is design thinking in real life, because no matter which course you're on, I think it's really important to think about how we can help you in your future. That's why you're studying with us. That's why you're coming to us. And so what we would do is work with you, and certainly on the design management course, we have projects that are kind of partly self-initiated by you. You're coming to us with some ideas about what you're interested in, what you enjoy, and we're using these tools, whether it's a supermarket of the future, or maybe it's a fashion brand, or maybe it's a form of transportation, maybe it's your own business idea. These are things that can all be brought into the classroom. And these are the things that make our jobs really interesting, because we're not just here to teach you, we're here to learn from all of our collective experiences as well. So thank you for that brief kind of introduction there. This is how I would be teaching this as well. Other tutors will have their approach, but I think broadly, having worked right across UAL, this is our kind of standard approach to problem solving around teaching and learning and working with you all. So hopefully that's piqued your interest. I'm going to be running this course on the 22nd of July to the 8th of August. So look up design management. We've got a website, and all the material is on there. And I'm sure if you've got any questions, get them ready, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. But I'm going to hand you over now to Tracy, Hi there, Tracy.
Hi, thank you so much, Robert, for your valuable expertise and introduction to design management. That was great. So if you don't mind keeping control of the slides, and next slide, please. So we're going to introduce you to all of the summer study abroad courses. So we focused on design management there, but we've got a whole host of subjects for everyone. So next slide, please.
I'm just going to, I've reached, here we go. It was all working so well there, Tracy. I've just got oh, there we go. There we
Oh,
are.
lovely. So firstly, why summer at UAL? So as Robert mentioned, we have outstanding facilities, teaching staff and locations. It's a really creative, inspiring environment to explore new skills. For summer, you can take credits back to your home institution if that's approved by your home university. So that's really popular with lots of students. You can meet students from all around the world. It's a really diverse programme. UAL is very diverse anyway, but the summer programme attracts students from all over. We have UAL housing, which I'll go into in a little bit, and yeah, just have the best summer possible. Next slide, please, Robert. So these are our dates. So the 8-week session at London College of Fashion runs from 3rd of June to 26th of July. That's an 8-week programme. And then we have 3-week programmes running over 2 sessions. So the first session starts on the 1st of July and the second session starts on the 22nd of July. And we'll go through the subjects in the next slide. So next slide, please. We have so many subjects, and they're all a kind of example of our degree programs. They've been set up as a kind of snapshot of what happens on our degree courses. So from advanced fashion to art history, digital photography. We've got new courses added this year, such as fashion business, graphic design, we've got graphic communication design and graphic media design, product design and textile design. So yeah, there's a whole host of subjects. So whatever your discipline, we've also had students that major in subjects such as engineering going into graphic design, for example. So you don't have to be majoring in that subject to go into it. Some courses do require a portfolio or some experience, and it's all outlined on the web pages. But yeah, we've had students sort of studying other things that just want to get a 3-week or 8-week taster. So that can be really good to expand your knowledge. So next slide, please. So the 3-week summer programme is 60 teaching hours and 15 non-class hours. The dates, as a reminder, are there, and the fees are £2,380 for most of our 3-week courses, but £2,590 for our advanced fashion design course, which runs during session 2. Next slide, please, Robert. Then we've got our 8-week summer programme at London College of Fashion. So this is Introduction to Fashion Design, Introduction to Fashion Business and Footwear Design. And these are 6,560 for the 8-week programmes. Next slide, please. This is one of our students, Manuela, who came on summer initially, who did graphic communication design, and she actually came back on our integrated study abroad programme. She loved it so much. So yeah, she's actually done 2 study abroad programmes with us. But yeah, what she found was that the summer programme just helped her discover about herself as a designer and dive into new interests and help her explore new areas of her practice. So next slide, please. Okay, so looking at the next steps of how you apply and get involved with the programme. So next slide, please. So it's suitable for students who've completed at least 1 year of undergraduate level study. And we do ask for English proficiency. So as a guideline, we'd expect an English language level equivalent to IELTS 6.0. And if you scan this code, it will take you to all our entry requirements. Next slide, please. We have housing available for summer stays. So it's at Sketch House, which is in Finsbury Park, really central location. You can get to all of our campuses really easily from there. We also have a discount for study abroad offer holders. So our advice is to book that early because spaces do book up. And you would get the discount code once you've got your summer study abroad offer. And then we'll tell you what the code is. Next slide, please, Robert. We also have lots of information on our website, including visas, how you can apply, housing, and much more. All of the summer courses have their own individual web page, and it's got the course outline, tutor information, the costs, the apply link, and you can get to this via the link on this page. And then if you just click on the course that you're interested in, it will take you to lots more information. You're also welcome to contact us if you want a kind of more detailed course description, if you need to show that to your home university, for example. So just drop us an email if you need anything like that. So next slide, please. We also have a scholarship for summer. So this is a tuition fee waiver. So you could get your whole 3-week summer course paid for, and you'd still have to pay for your flight and accommodation on top of that. But yeah, it's a really great scheme. So all you have to do is send us a video, and we ask for it in a kind of social media format because the winner will be asked to do some social media tasks. So if you're successful, you'd receive the tuition fee waiver. We'd ask you to write a story or a blog post during your course and help us to just provide some fun content to show other students what UAL is like. So all the details, there's a link there in the pink. So if you click on that, you can be taken to the award page and it tells you how to apply. The deadline for that is 1st of May. So you would need to have applied for your summer course and then you'd be able to apply for the award once you've applied for your summer course. So next slide, please. Okay, that brings me to the end of my presentation. So if you want to get in touch with us, you're very welcome. You can go to our webpage, you can email us at Study Abroad, and you can check out our Instagram or TikTok for behind the scenes content. But we're very happy to get emails from everyone, and I think we're going to move to the Q&A now. So hopefully there'll be lots of questions from everyone for either Robert or myself. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Hello again, everyone. And of course, thanks to our panelists for their accurate presentation. I see here we already have some questions from the participants. I'd like to remind you that there's still time to ask questions and you can do so by writing it here in the Q&A box. So I'd say let's start with the first one. Is there any scholarships at UAL for international students? I think you already answered to this question, but I don't know if you want to add something more or if there's something else you want to say.
So yeah, we do have a scholarship for the summer study abroad. I can also post a link in the chat for the main UAL scholarship page. There are lots of scholarships for other courses as well. We obviously focus on the study abroad side. So yeah, I'll post links to both our award and the main scholarship page. So thank you.
Fantastic, thank you. The next one is, hi, how is London positioning itself to lead the future of creative industries, particularly in the realms of design and fashion amidst global competition?
Okay, that's a really good question. Come and find out is the answer. I think that it's, creative industries, I mean, the term is at least 20, 25 years old. It was coined in 1997 in the UK. And I think that for a start, the heritage goes way beyond that in terms of going back to certainly within UAL. All of the colleges have a heritage going back to the 1960s. Where I am today, London College of Communication, goes back to the 1950s. And I think that one of the positioning things that we've been doing is making sure that the staff that we have they're all practicing designers, creatives in their own right, and come from that experience. So we're very much in touch with industry in terms of a teaching institution. On the wider level, obviously there's as with all of these things, there's wider political implications. But I think one of the key areas that we as a university are very keen on understanding is that creativity is everywhere. It isn't just about necessarily just the creative industries, that our clients, the people that we're working with, have a wider reach other than just traditional studios, although that's really important. But we're finding a lot of our students are entrepreneurial, that they are wanting to change the way the world works, and London is a really good starting point because it's a meeting point for people still. And I think it's that kind of dynamic of people coming in and working together and collaborating is a really positive mood. There's a lot of agencies here. The creative industry in terms of London is vast, whether it's film, which is one of the big kind of interesting recent areas, whether it's fashion, which has kind of always been here, sustainability and design working within government and things like that is also an increasing trend, I think. And the kind of traditional illustration, that those kind of areas, fashion business, they are kind of all working together and collaborating together. So you get quite often people from different disciplines working creatively together. And I think it's that mindset thing that we were talking about. I think that's how the positioning is from our institution, is people having interesting conversations across boundaries and across traditional silos. So come and find out is my ultimate answer, but also I think that it's a really interesting time to be in the UK. It's a really interesting time to be at UAL as well.
Great, thank you so much. And I think that the next one is for you again. It is with the increasing emphasis on sustainability and innovation, how is industrial design evolving in London to address complex challenges such as environmental impact and social responsibility?
That's a really interesting question. I think that for the last 30, 40 years, the UK has not been an industrial nation in terms of production and manufacturing. What we have been doing in the UK is been absorbing that and being on the receiving end of that. But I think that where the strength in what we do is more strategic now in terms of just straightforward manufacturing. And we work, I think, as a university with lots of interesting stakeholders, which is why stakeholders are really important. And the people that come and study here and work with us often take that kind of thinking and implement it in new ways in their own countries. And I think that for us, the kind of systems thinking, which is manufacturing is one part of that, but thinking about the implications of what we do is something that we certainly do, I think, really well at UAL. We have a climate charter. We have a lot of really interesting speculative futures laid out, and a lot of our students take that with us and then roll that out. Often students are coming to us with industries at home that they want to go back to and absorb some of that learning, because it's not just about being sustainable, it's also about being profitable and working in the world in a way. And what we're finding is that the long-term picture is very much down the route of sustainability, and it's understanding that short-term gain often wreaks havoc in the long run. So we're looking at things much more strategically than just straightforward industrial manufacturing design. Although there is manufacturing design still here, particularly when you look at fashion houses, things like that. But in terms of raw manufacturing, arguably the UK is not as involved as it used to be. I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you. And the next one is, what specific qualities or characteristics does WAL look for in prospective candidates?
That's another really interesting question. That earlier slide, one of the first ones I did about curiosity, resilience, being able to think holistically, being somebody who enjoys you know, coming in and not just bringing their experience with them, but sharing their experiences, open-mindedness, the ability to be able to not just be the loudest person in the room or the one that thinks they have the answer, but to maybe think a little, allow your colleagues to grow, humility, empathy, hopefully the things that we as tutors have as well, which is, you know, this kind of curiosity and willingness to always learn from unexpected places. I think that's the one thing throughout all the teaching I've done across all the different universities, whether it's been at College of Fashion or CSM or Chelsea or here, is that kind of interest in what's going on in the world and an open-mindedness and a willingness to try stuff out and experiment and see where it goes.
Thank you. Do I need to submit a letter of recommendation in the application? What kind of recommendations are most valuable?
I think that may be one for Tracy. I'm not sure. I don't deal with the things, but maybe.
I'm happy to respond to this one. I'm Annalisa. I work in the sort of operations team for study abroad, so we kind of deal with all the applications. So if you're applying for an LCF, London College of Fashion 8-week course, then yes, we will need one letter of recommendation, and that will need to be, if possible, from an academic that you've you worked with recently. Sometimes students are not necessarily currently studying, so they are working, and in that case we can accept an application from your employer. If you're applying for a 3-week summer course, then you don't need a letter of recommendation.
Okay, great. Thank you. The next one is from Carly that says, hi, I have been offered housing accommodation at the costume store, but whenever I look up at the distance between the costume store and London College of Fashion, it says it is 1 hour away. Is this manageable? And do you recommend staying at the costume store?
I can answer a bit of this because I grew up down the road from the costume store. The costume store is in North Acton. I go past it whenever I visit my parents. It's on the Central Line, which is the tube, the underground network. Yeah, I'd imagine it is probably just under an hour door to door. It's one tube line. You just get on the train at North Acton and you get off at Stratford. You can't go wrong. It's just one line all the way across London. Everywhere in London probably takes 1 hour if you think about wherever you are. So that's I can't offer recommendations about whether or not to stay there. I think there's plenty of things online. I know that it's a very recent development. It's new housing, so that's my input. I don't know whether Annalisa, you have any.
Yes, that's perfect what you just said, Robert. I think in London you have to expect to be traveling because it's a big city. So, but the good thing about costume store is that it's a direct line. What I was gonna say is the costume store obviously is one of our UIL owned halls. So the benefit of staying there is that you will have 24 hours, reception, and so like there's always someone. Obviously some students prefer to go somewhere else, have private accommodation. That's completely up to you. Basically, it depends on what is your preference. So a costume store, you will be staying with other UIL students. Whereas if you go for a private accommodation, you won't. And unfortunately, if you're taking the 8-week LCF London College of Fashion summer course, that is the only option that we can offer. If you are applying for the 3-week course, then you can apply for Sketch House, which is a bit more central, but again, it depends on when you're studying. So again, with London being a big city, if you're not used to it, you always have to sort of think about an hour traveling, unfortunately.
Of course, thank you. Are there any specific academic or professional backgrounds that the university values in applicants?
There aren't any in particular. No, I don't think. I think we were a very broad institution that values, like I was saying, about the creative attributes. We have students that come in as mature students without, sometimes without traditional education. We just look for that spark, you know, it has to be something that you're really interested in. You're the motivator as a student. Without your passion, then we can do nothing. You know, you have to really want to do it, be interested, and then we work around and work with whatever that life has presented with you previously. There are some standards like the IELTS score for communicating in English, and each course may have, you know, a requisite entry point, but in general there is no you know, specific. It's more, you know, the desire to be part of it, because greatness happens from unexpected places often.
Okay, great. And is it long the process for the admission? How many weeks it takes usually?
That's me again. So it's normally when, since the point we received a full application, it's 1 week. That what I mean by that is sometimes we receive applications that are incomplete, so we need to go a bit of back and forth with the student, with the applicant, if there's anything missing. But we try to process all applications within 1 week.
Fantastic, thank you. And the next one is a specific one. I don't know if you can give a precise answer, but we can try. I studied agricultural economics at my undergraduate level, and I'm now into art, painting to be precise. Can it be possible for me to get a scholarship art field?
I can answer part of this question. I mean, I think we probably answered the scholarship question earlier on. So whilst there is no specific scholarship, there is I would certainly suggest going for the kind of bursary award that's given from our marketing team. In terms of what you studied at undergraduate level and then going on to pursue a career in creativity, that's absolutely really good. And quite often we find that we have students that maybe studied one thing and then they're really interested in pursuing a short course or a summer school to be able to maybe help them think about their future, and creativity is there for everyone. So not having done this at undergraduate level and then wanting to go into it is absolutely, yeah, I think that's a really good thing. And a lot of our tutors came from different, as I say, I studied fine art and I'm now working in design. And my career path went through loads of different jobs, you know, particularly when we've got some experience in the world, our career can be many and varied, and we bring those experiences and they can be really valuable into what we do.
Thank you. And the next one is more an information, I think. Hi, I'm Hassan Ahmed from Pakistan. I've already received an offer for graphic communication design. I'm also applying for a scholarship and I'm eagerly anticipating the opportunity to join. Okay. And the next one is it possible to apply this scholarship to a second course? In my case, I am admitted to the advanced fashion course and I would like to take 2 courses, fashion styling also.
Annalisa, I think
I can answer this one. Sorry, my internet dropped and I had to tether
Don't
to
worry.
device. I'm back now. So the summer scholarship is for 1 3-week course. So if you applied for 2 summer courses and were successful for the scholarship, you would only get it for 3 weeks. So yeah, hope that answers that one.
Okay, thank you. And the next one is, hello, does all the advice information you all gave about the summer session apply to the integrated study abroad semester programs, or does anything change based on the length of the program?
So this session was very much about the summer programs. Integrated study abroad is where you can come onto one of our degree programs. So it's very much tied to the term times. So you can come in autumn, starting in September, or in spring, starting in February. We've got a webpage about integrated study abroad, so I'll answer that and put the link to that, and it's different dates, deadlines and fees as well.
Fantastic, thank you. And I think we are at the last question, is can I apply for study abroad if I'm doing my master's?
Oh, a good question. So we don't have a specific program for postgraduate study abroad, but we can consider on a case-by-case basis. So if you would email us at studyabroad@arts.ac.uk with your master's program that you're doing, if there's a program you're interested in taking, then we could answer that for you. It just depends on your circumstances.
Of course. Thank you. So I think we are at our last question, and I hope we give answer to all the questions of the students. I want to thank first of all our panelists for their really interesting presentation, and also our students for being with us today. I'd like to remind everyone interested in receiving a certificate of attendance by Doxity that you can click on the link that I'm sending in the chat right now and request it. Before we say goodbye, I'd like to ask our panelists if they would like to leave our participants with a message, maybe.
I'll go first, seeing as I'm on the screen. So I just wanted to say thank you for coming. We really appreciate you taking part, and we hope to welcome you to UAL very soon.
Okay, and Annalisa, did you have a message, or shall I just go?
I did have a quick message just to let you know that we are in the midst of receiving a lot of applications. So if you're really interested, I would recommend applying sooner rather than later, because some of our courses get really fill up. So by the time you apply, you might, not to scare everyone off, but if you're really interested, do your application early. If the course is full, we might need to direct to another course. We'll try and place you somewhere else. But if you are really interested into a specific course, just get your applications in. And again, we'll be happy to respond to any questions that you have.
Okay, thank you, Annalisa. And final one from me. I hope you enjoyed the presentation on design management. If it's something that you're interested in doing, I look forward to seeing you in July. And one final thing, education is, as we were saying, it comes from us to you, but it also comes from you to us. We look forward to welcoming you, whatever course you choose to study with us here at UAL. And remember, it's not just about this formal studying. It's about being somewhere new, having new experiences, and London's a fantastic city to do that in. So we look forward to welcoming you. As a Londoner, I bid you welcome, and we look forward to seeing you hopefully in the summer. Thanks for your time, everyone, today.
Thank you so much. Thanks to Robert, Annalisa, and Tracy, and of course to everyone connected with us today. And I hope to see you again in the next webinar organized by Doxity. So goodbye, everyone, and have a nice rest of the day. Thank you.
Bye.